What if I told you that the very pain you're running from today is the foundation of the future you're praying for? Pain is one of the most misunderstood experiences in life. The moment we face it, our first instinct is to run away, to resist it, to question why it is happening to us. We tend to see pain as punishment, as if life is unfairly targeting us, as if the world has singled us out for suffering. But what if we have been looking at it the wrong way all along? What if the very pain we try to escape is actually the greatest preparation for our future? What if your current struggle is not life trying to break you, but life trying to build you? Think about it. Every single person you admire today, every successful figure, every role model, every hero, none of them got there without pain. Their achievements were not built on comfort, but on sacrifice. Their strength did not come from easy days, it came from hard nights. It came from being tested, from falling down, from failing, from enduring disappointment, from facing rejection, and still choosing to get back up. Pain was never their punishment. It was their preparation. Pain has a way of forcing you to grow. It stretches you beyond your limits. It teaches you what nothing else can. When life feels heavy, when you feel like the weight is too much to carry, it is actually building your inner muscles. Just like a bodybuilder lifts weights to break down muscles in order to grow stronger, your struggles are doing the same for your spirit. Without resistance, there is no growth. Without pain, there is no strength. Without challenges, there is no preparation for greatness. You see, pain makes you ready for the opportunities you prayed for. Sometimes you ask for a better future, a bigger life, a higher purpose, but you don't realize that who you are right now cannot handle that future yet. You have to be shaped, molded, refined, and sometimes that process is painful. The struggles you face are not blocking your future. They are preparing you for it. If life gave you everything you wanted without the preparation, you wouldn't be ready to handle it and you'd lose it. But when you've walked through the fire, when you've endured storms, when you've faced battles, you come out with a strength and resilience that nothing can take away. Think of a diamond. It begins as coal, something ordinary, overlooked, not valued. But under intense pressure and heat, it transforms into something rare, something unbreakable, something priceless. That transformation isn't easy, it's harsh, it's violent, it's difficult. But without it, the diamond would never exist. In the same way, your pain is the pressure that's shaping you into something stronger, something brighter, something more valuable than you could ever imagine. And let's be honest, pain also teaches humility. It reminds you that you are human. It strips away arrogance and pride. It keeps you grounded while still making you strong. Pain teaches you compassion because once you've suffered, you recognize suffering in others. You develop empathy, and that makes you not only strong but also kind. Preparation is not just about toughness, it's about depth, character, and heart. If you reflect on your past, you'll realize the moments you grew the most were not during seasons of comfort, but in seasons of pain. You didn't grow when life was easy. You grew when life was hard. That heartbreak you thought would destroy you taught you how to love more wisely. That failure you thought would end you taught you how to rise again with strategy and patience. That loss you thought you could never recover from gave you a strength you never thought you had. Pain was not punishing you, it was preparing you. The truth is, pain has a purpose, and its purpose is to shape you into the person you need to be for the future you are destined to live. The world you dream of requires strength, wisdom, and resilience that only pain can give you. If you quit in the middle of pain, you're quitting on the preparation, and without preparation, you can never step into the fullness of your future. So instead of asking, "Why me?" start asking, "What is this pain preparing me for?" Instead of seeing it as punishment, see it as a gift in disguise. You may not see it now, but one day you'll look back and realize that every sleepless night, every tear, every battle, every wound was training you, molding you, and preparing you for the life you were always meant to live. Because pain was never here to destroy you. It was always here to prepare you. When you are in pain, it often feels like the world has turned against you. It feels as though the weight on your shoulders is too heavy to carry, and you wonder why life has to be this hard. In those moments, it is so easy to believe that pain is nothing but an enemy, a force trying to break you down. But what if I told you that pain is not here to destroy you, but to build you? What if I told you that the very struggle you are going through right now is shaping the foundation of your future, preparing you for the life you've been dreaming of? You see, pain has a purpose. It is not random, and it is not meaningless. Pain comes into your life as a teacher, as a refiner, as a builder. Think about the way muscles grow. They don't get stronger when everything is comfortable. They grow when they are torn apart through effort, through strain, through pressure. The very tearing of the muscle fibers is what signals the body to rebuild them, stronger and more resilient than before. Your life is no different. Every tear, every hardship, every setback is not a sign of your weakness. It is the process of building a stronger, more capable version of you. The truth is, without pain, we wouldn't grow. Without challenges, we would stay the same, comfortable but stagnant, alive but not truly living. Pain has a way of pushing us into places we never thought we could reach. It forces us to dig deeper, to discover strengths we didn't know we had, to uncover resilience we never believed existed within us. Many people spend their whole lives trying to avoid pain, but in doing so, they also avoid growth. They avoid transformation. They avoid the future they were destined for. And I know when you are in the middle of it, it doesn't feel like anything good can come from it. It doesn't feel like you are being built. It feels like you are being broken. But every storm you endure, every sleepless night, every disappointment is quietly building within you the wisdom, the strength, the endurance that will carry you into the next chapter of your life. Pain isn't the end. It's the preparation. It's the groundwork for something greater than what you see right now. Think about some of the strongest, most inspiring people you've ever known or read about. Almost all of them were forged through struggle. They didn't become who they are because life handed them ease. They became who they are because life handed them pain, and they refused to let that pain define them as victims. Instead, they allowed it to shape them into victors. They turned their trials into lessons, their losses into wisdom, their struggles into stepping stones. So when you feel pain, don't see it as a punishment. See it as a process. See it as evidence that life is shaping you for something bigger, something better. The fire you feel inside, the weight you are carrying, the tears you've cried, they are not wasted. They are not meaningless. They are part of a divine process of molding you into someone stronger, wiser, and more prepared for the future you are meant to live. And I want you to remember this. The moments you feel weakest are often the moments you are being built the strongest. The nights you cry yourself to sleep are the same nights you are learning resilience. The times you think you cannot take another step are the times your character is being solidified. Pain is not an obstacle on your path. It is the path. It is carrying you forward to a place you cannot yet see. But one day you will look back and understand that every moment of struggle was worth it. So today, don't run from your pain. Don't curse it. Don't let it convince you that you are broken. Instead, embrace it. Accept it as the sign that you are in the middle of being built. Your pain is not your enemy, it is your architect. And it is designing a future that is stronger, brighter, and more beautiful than anything you could have imagined. Because in the end, your pain is not destroying you. Your pain is building your future. Every time you go through pain, it leaves something behind. It might not be obvious in the moment, but pain never comes and goes without leaving a lesson, a strength, or a seed of growth. The problem is most of us get so consumed by the hurt that we fail to see the gift it carries. We get so focused on what we've lost, on what we've suffered, that we overlook what we've gained. But the truth is, your pain is not empty. It's a builder, a teacher, a silent force shaping you into who you are meant to be. Think back to some of the hardest moments of your life. At that time, you may have thought you couldn't survive it. You may have cried, broken down, even begged for it to end. But here you are, you survived. And not only did you survive, but you walked away with something you didn't have before. Maybe it was wisdom. Maybe it was strength. Maybe it was compassion. But you didn't leave that season of pain empty-handed. That's the hidden power of pain. It shapes us in ways comfort never could. When you are comfortable, you don't question things. You don't search within yourself. You don't ask the hard questions about who you are and what you're capable of. But when you're in pain, you are forced to face yourself. You are forced to discover parts of you that would have stayed hidden otherwise. You're forced to learn patience when you have no choice but to wait. You're forced to learn courage when you're standing at the edge of fear. You're forced to learn resilience when life keeps knocking you down. Pain, in its own harsh way, is molding you into someone stronger, wiser, more resilient than you ever thought possible. There's a reason diamonds are formed under pressure. There's a reason steel is forged in fire. Greatness is never born in comfort, it is born in struggle. And your pain is doing exactly that. It is taking you through the fire, through the pressure, through the storm, so that you emerge not weaker but stronger. And though it may feel like life is being unfair, it's actually preparing you for the very things you've prayed for, the very future you've dreamed of. Because without that strength, without that endurance, you would not be able to carry the weight of the blessings waiting ahead. I know it's not easy to think of pain as a gift. When your heart is broken, when your plans fall apart, when you feel like life has taken everything from you, it feels cruel to say that something good is coming out of it. But time and time again, life proves that pain is the soil where growth happens. It is the pressure that reveals your character, the fire that refines your spirit, the storm that strengthens your roots. You may not see it today, you may not see it tomorrow, but one day, you'll look back and realize that the very thing that once brought you to your knees is the same thing that gave you the strength to rise higher than ever before. The key is to shift your perspective. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" start asking, "What is this teaching me? What is this building in me? What strength am I gaining through this?" Because the moment you stop fighting against your pain and start learning from it, you take back your power. You stop being a victim of circumstances and start becoming the student of life. And every lesson pain gives you becomes a tool, a brick, a piece of the foundation for your future. Your scars are not signs of weakness. They are reminders that you've been through the fire and came out alive. They are proof that you've endured what could have destroyed you but didn't. They carry within them the story of resilience, and those stories will one day become the reason you inspire others. Pain shapes not only who you are but also who you can impact. Sometimes the very pain you're carrying today will equip you to help someone else carry theirs tomorrow. So don't underestimate the power of what you're going through. Every tear, every setback, every sleepless night is building something within you. It's carving out strength, resilience, and wisdom that no one can take away. And though the process hurts, the result will be worth it. One day you'll realize that the pain you hated was actually the tool that shaped your destiny. Because in the end, your pain is not just shaping your present, it is shaping your future. One of the hardest things about pain is how lonely it feels. When you're in the middle of it, you often believe that no one understands, that no one else could possibly feel what you're feeling. It's easy to think that your struggle isolates you, that it cuts you off from the rest of the world. But here's the truth. Pain doesn't separate us, it connects us. Every single person you pass on the street has carried or is carrying some kind of burden. Everyone has a story filled with battles, heartbreaks, or disappointments. What you're going through might look different on the outside, but at its core, pain is something all of humanity shares. When you begin to see it this way, pain stops being just about suffering and starts becoming about connection. You realize you're not as alone as you think. Your struggles, your scars, your hardships, they give you the ability to understand others at a deeper level. They give you the capacity to show empathy, to extend compassion, to be present for someone else when they are going through their own storm. Pain becomes the invisible thread that ties us together, making us more human, more real, and more connected. Think about it. When someone tells you they've faced something similar to what you're going through, don't you feel an instant bond with them? Don't you feel a sense of relief, like someone finally gets it? That's the power of shared struggle. It breaks down walls and builds bridges. Your pain, as personal and heavy as it may feel, can actually be the very thing that allows you to touch another life in a way nothing else could. It becomes a doorway, not just for your healing, but for theirs too. And maybe that's part of why life allows us to go through hardships. Because when you've been there, when you've known the darkness of despair, when you've felt the sting of loss, when you've tasted the bitterness of failure, you're not quick to judge others who are struggling. Instead, you're more patient, more understanding, more kind. Your pain becomes a teacher that softens you in the right ways, shaping your heart so you can give more freely to others. What if the very thing you see as breaking you is actually shaping you to become a source of hope for someone else? What if your wounds are preparing you to be the voice that tells another person, "I know it hurts, but you will survive this too"? Sometimes the healing you're waiting for doesn't come just for yourself. It comes because someone else needs your story. Someone else needs your courage. Someone else needs your reminder that they're not walking alone. We live in a world that often tells us to hide our pain, to put on a mask, to act like everything is fine. But the truth is, your pain, when shared with honesty and vulnerability, can change lives. When you're brave enough to open up about what you've been through, you give others permission to do the same. You make it safe for them to take off their masks, to admit their struggles, and to begin their own journey of healing. That's how pain transforms into connection. That's how wounds turn into bridges. And here's the beautiful thing. Sometimes the connection your pain creates will be the very thing that helps you heal. Because healing doesn't always happen in isolation. Often it happens in community. It happens when you sit with someone who understands, when you realize you're not carrying the weight alone, when you feel seen and heard by another human being. Your healing might begin the moment you reach out, the moment you allow your pain to connect you rather than isolate you. Never underestimate the ripple effect of your story. The struggle you went through, the nights you cried yourself to sleep, the times you almost gave up. All of that has the potential to be the light someone else needs in their darkest hour. What felt like a curse can become someone else's blessing. What felt like the end can become the reason someone else finds hope to keep going. That's the miracle hidden in pain. It has the power to transform not just your life, but the lives of those around you. So the next time you find yourself asking, "Why me? Why do I have to go through this?" Consider that maybe it's not just about you. Maybe it's about the person you'll one day help, the life you'll one day touch, the soul you'll one day remind that they are not forgotten. Maybe your pain is part of a bigger picture, a greater story that goes beyond what you can see right now. Because in the end, your pain is not only shaping your strength, it is shaping your connection to the world around you. And sometimes the greatest healing of all comes not from running away from pain, but from allowing it to connect us in ways that nothing else can. One of the most overlooked truths about pain is that it has the power to build resilience like nothing else can. We often think resilience is something people are born with, as if some are just naturally strong while others are not. But that's not how it works. Resilience is built, and the raw material it is built from is struggle. Every time you've been knocked down and found the strength to rise again, you've been adding another layer to your resilience. Every tear you've wiped away, every moment you chose to keep moving despite the weight pressing down on your shoulders, has been quietly constructing a foundation of strength inside you that cannot be shaken. Resilience doesn't mean you don't feel the pain. It doesn't mean you don't have moments of doubt, moments where you wonder if you can go on. What it really means is that you've developed the capacity to bend without breaking, to absorb the storms and still keep standing. Think about the strongest people you know. Their strength isn't because they've lived easy lives. It's because they've faced adversity. They've been tested, they've had to rise again and again, and in that rising, they've become unshakable. Pain trains you in ways comfort never can. Comfort may feel good, but it doesn't prepare you for life's storms. Pain does. Pain teaches you patience when things don't happen in your timing. Pain teaches you endurance when solutions don't come overnight. Pain teaches you perspective, because once you've been through the fire, you learn to value peace, you learn to cherish joy, you learn to treasure even the smallest blessings. Pain teaches you to keep going, because you've learned from experience that giving up is never the answer. And here's the thing, resilience isn't built in a single moment. It's built in the repetition of choosing not to quit. It's built in the countless little decisions you make each day to try again, to take another step, to not let failure define you. When you look back, you'll realize that the strength you carry today didn't appear out of nowhere. It was forged in those hard moments when you kept moving forward despite the fear, despite the doubt, despite the hurt. Sometimes resilience looks like getting back up after a major loss. And sometimes it simply looks like making it through the day when everything inside you wants to stop. Both matter. Both are victories. Both are building blocks of a stronger, more resilient version of you. And the beauty of resilience is that once you've built it, it never leaves you. It becomes part of who you are, part of your identity. It's the quiet voice that whispers, "I've been here before. I survived this before. I will survive this again." You see, resilience is not just about surviving. It's about transforming your pain into a force that keeps pushing you forward. It's about realizing that the same thing that tried to break you is the very thing that made you unshakable. And the world needs people who are unshakable. The world needs people who have walked through fire and can still carry hope, who have been knocked down and can still offer encouragement, who have faced their darkest nights and can still point others toward the dawn. There's a saying that smooth seas never made a skilled sailor. In the same way, an easy life never builds a resilient heart. It's the storms that make you steady. It's the challenges that make you strong. It's the moments you thought you couldn't go on but did anyway. That proved to you that you're capable of so much more than you believed. That's what resilience is. The proof that you are stronger than your circumstances, stronger than your setbacks, stronger than the weight of your pain. And here's what's even more powerful. Your resilience doesn't just serve you. It becomes a source of inspiration for others. When people see the way you've endured, the way you've kept moving forward despite everything, it gives them the courage to do the same. Your resilience becomes a light in someone else's darkness, a living testimony that survival is possible, that healing is possible, that thriving is possible even after deep wounds. So the next time pain visits your life, remember that it isn't just there to hurt you. It's there to shape you. It's there to stretch you. It's there to build a resilience inside of you that nothing and no one can take away. And once you've built that resilience, you'll carry it with you forever, standing taller, walking stronger, living bolder. Because at the end of the day, resilience is not about never falling. It's about rising every single time you do. When you look back at your life, you'll realize that pain wasn't just something you endured. It was something that transformed you. The struggles you faced, the heartbreaks you carried, the nights you cried yourself to sleep, they weren't meaningless moments. They were chapters in your story, shaping you into someone wiser, stronger, and more capable than you ever imagined. You see, pain is often misunderstood. People think it's there to punish them, to hold them down, to rob them of happiness. But in reality, pain is often the very thing that pushes you toward your true path, the thing that awakens the power and purpose inside of you. Think about it. The greatest lessons in your life didn't come from the easy days. They came from the moments that hurt the most. The lessons of patience, of humility, of perseverance, of empathy, they were all carved into you through pain. Without it, you wouldn't be who you are today. Without it, you wouldn't have the depth, the strength, or the understanding to stand tall in the storms that come your way. Pain may have broken you for a time, but it also rebuilt you into someone far stronger than before. And sometimes pain doesn't just shape who you are, it also gives you clarity on where you're meant to go. How many times have you walked through a painful experience only to realize later that it redirected you to something better? The relationship that ended may have hurt, but it made space for someone who truly valued you. The failure that crushed you may have felt unbearable, but it taught you a lesson that later led to your success. The rejection that stung may have closed a door, but it forced you to find another path, one that was ultimately more fulfilling. Pain is often the universe's way of closing doors that were never meant for you, and pushing you toward the ones that are. But here's something even deeper. Pain connects you to others in a way that nothing else can. When you've been through it, when you've known what it feels like to break, to lose, to struggle, you gain compassion. You gain the ability to sit with someone else in their suffering and truly understand. You no longer offer shallow words of comfort because you know what pain feels like. Instead, you offer presence, empathy, and authenticity. And that connection, born out of your own pain, becomes a gift you can give to others. Your pain also becomes your testimony. People can argue with your opinions, they can dismiss your ideas, but they cannot deny your story. When you speak from the place of what you've overcome, your words carry a power that touches hearts. Your story can inspire someone else to hold on, to fight through their own darkness, to believe that light is possible on the other side. And maybe, just maybe, your pain was never just about you. Maybe it was also about the countless lives you'll impact because you chose to keep going. There is a reason they say scars tell stories. Scars are proof that you were hurt but you healed, that you were broken but you mended, that you faced the fire but you came out on the other side. They don't make you less, they make you more resilient, more compassionate, more alive. And when you embrace those scars, when you stop hiding them and instead let them shine as evidence of survival, you give others the courage to embrace their own. I know it's not easy to accept pain as a gift. When you're in the middle of it, it feels like anything but a blessing. But when you step back, when time passes, when you connect the dots, you start to see that pain was never wasted. It was always building, always shaping, always guiding you. It wasn't the end of your story. It was the part of your story that made the rest possible. So, don't despise the pain you've walked through. Don't see it as wasted years or meaningless suffering. See it as the fire that forged you, the teacher that guided you, the force that prepared you for the life you're meant to live. Because at the end of it all, your pain is not just something you survived. It's something that gave birth to the future you were always meant to step into. And the truth is, without the pain, you would never have discovered the strength, the wisdom, and the resilience that now define you. Your pain is not your prison, it is your preparation, and it is building the future you were born to live.